Good day, everybody. This is Michael Levitis from jurisq.com with Irina Yadgarova, an estate and elder planning attorney. And we always talked with Irina regarding how to plan for your retirement, how to get yourself affordable and even free healthcare in the form of Medicaid. And we talked at our last session about how do you qualify for Medicaid. And from what I heard, I was shocked. It is very hard to qualify for Medicaid in New York if you are a working couple or working individual, if you used to work in the past, if you have any kind of even a home. Irina explained to us that Medicaid can give you Medicaid, but then once you pass away, they're going to take away from your inheritance, basically from your kids or whoever else you leave your estate to. They're going to take away all these expenses. And as Irina mentioned, expenses could be tremendous. Like a nursing home, you said what, it could be $13,000 a month?
Correct. So, if it's a nursing home situation, they place the lien during your lifetime. They don't wait until you pass. So you don't need to come back home. You don't need it anymore. It's no longer exempt.
So that means, great, your parents, they had all this free Medicaid, but then once they pass away, you thought you're getting the home, the house. Well, guess what? There's going to be nothing left of it after state puts in their clause into it and takes back what they paid for Medicaid. So as you explained before, there's a way to legally to get Medicaid through Medicaid Trust, which is approved by Medicaid, and you as an attorney disclose everything to Medicaid, what exactly you're doing, what is the purpose, and there's a way to get free healthcare upon retirement. So let's get into that.
Okay.
What is a Medicaid Trust? How does it work? What are the benefits? What are the drawbacks? In a nutshell, what is it?
Okay. So I think you're referring to the Medicaid Asset Protection Trust, which will protect your assets, including your home. Okay. I just want to say one little note that usually people need another type of trust for their income portion, right? Because if they have too much income, that's a full trust. We'll talk about that separately. But right now we're talking about protecting your assets, which include your home, right? Or your homes if you have multiple properties.
Okay.
So an asset protection trust, what you're going to transfer into this asset protection trust can include your home. It can include liquid assets, securities, and depending on your specific asset composition, we'll advise you as exactly what should be put in. If you're a homeowner and you're 55 and up in New York, it's a no-brainer. You should transfer your home into the asset protection trust in most instances, right? So the way it works is it's an irrevocable asset protection trust.
Okay.
And it has protection against all creditors, including Medicaid. The reason it has creditor protection is that you are you're agreeing that the principal, the value of what you're putting into the trust, you are no longer going to use for your personal expenses.
Okay.
But really changes nothing because you can still sell the home, right? The trustee will sign the contract of sale. You just cannot use the money upon the sale for personal expenses, for your credit cards, for your shopping spree, for your, Vegas gambling, for gifting. But you can purchase any property in the name of the trust, whether it's another real property that you want to live in anywhere, in Florida, in Israel, in Panama, wherever. You could purchase another real property that you can use for rental income, because everything income is going to be yours. This trust is treated what we call a grantor trust under the IRS rules, which means it's ignored for tax purposes. And that's wonderful, because since it's not treated as a separate entity, when your children inherit it, they will not pay capital gains tax on everything that it appreciated in value. Super important.
Oh, wow. So that's an extra benefit that you get from this trust.
Absolutely. And you don't have to, and any trust, right, including this one, your children will not have to go through the onerous and expensive probate process of dealing with a will or no will administration, even more onerous, even more expensive. So you get the creditor protection, you get to avoid probate or any estate administration proceeding. So it's a clean, quick transfer upon death to children without court intervention, without notices to people. It's private, it's confidential. Really, there are no, so this is what we do for 55 and up. What are the drawbacks, right? People want to know what the draw, because it sounds great, right?
Let's summarize the benefits. So basic benefits are Medicaid.
Right.
You protect your assets against creditors, right? Any judgments, people suing you, whatever.
Right.
Third,
you do it in advance. You got to do advanced planning. Once you have a creditor, it's too late. It's fraud.
Right. Third, you avoid a costly and drawn out probate process, because when somebody dies with just a will, they go to a special court. I believe it's called surrogate court, and that costs money. It takes time. With a trust, the inheritance passes much easier, right? That's a third benefit. And fourth, you mentioned the tax implications, so that when the way the home is valued upon sale of this home, you're going to pay less capital gains.
You're not going to, right. So I'll explain that very specifically. You purchase a home, let's say you purchased it at $200,000. Okay. At the time of death, the fair market value is $500,000. If they inherit it through a trust, right? You didn't transfer their name. You didn't put their name on the title. You didn't do a direct transfer. You put it in the trust. It has to be a correct trust, right? There's different types of irrevocable trusts. We're talking about this one specifically that suits most individuals. That's why it's important to have a qualified and experienced attorney doing your trust.
Perfect.
Do not go on LegalZoom. Okay, so.
By the way, we're going to have a separate session on that. Why you should use an attorney to create trust, not create through online services. We'll talk about that. And
also the right type of attorney, because people call me all the time with other see, I don't practice family law. I'm not going to get into, what I have no experience or knowledge in immigration and all that. So you purchase a $200,000. The fair market value at the time is $500,000. Your children get it through this type of a trust. They sell for $500,000. They do not pay any capital.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's very important.
And one more really important part about this being ignored for tax purposes. Say you're 70, you're a New Yorker. You have the homeowner's tax exemption of up to 50% in the property value. We can speak about that later. But if you qualify for that, this type of trust, properly drafted new deed, will not result in the loss of any tax benefit you are currently receiving. Homeowner's exemption, all of that.
Yeah, so many benefits. Okay, fine. We talked about the benefits. Now tell us, are there any minuses, any drawbacks that people should be aware of when creating a Medicaid trust?
Right. So this is one reason I do not recommend this for younger individuals is you're losing the flexibility, like we said, to use the money for your own expenses. And if you don't know where you're going to be, where you retire, maybe you do need to sell your home and supplement your retirement income, for whatever expenses you have. So that's one. That's very rarely applicable to seniors, because the only time they really typically need supplemental income is for medical care. And this is the whole goal, right? To get ahead of that.
At what age do you recommend? 55. That's the perfect age to start planning for your Medicaid trust.
The further up you get, right, 55 and up, the older you get, the more there's a need, and it becomes a critical need, because there's a 5-year look back for nursing home coverage. So you can't wait too long, and you don't want to start too early, right?
You definitely want to apply at least 5 years before you plan retirement.
You want to have the trust in place 5 years in advance of a permanent nursing home need. Absolutely. Very important.
Okay.
And the other drawbacks that are really, really important, also usually for younger individuals, is refinancing is difficult with this type of a trust.
Okay.
You have only certain lenders like Quantic Bank, like literally 1 or 2 lenders that will lend against this type of trust, not for home equity, only for refi. You could still get home equity without any issues. So for refis, if you think you're going to refinance, do the refinancing first. And then, although in this environment now with the rates climbing.
Yeah, see, it's so important, so vital to go to an attorney that does this every day. And that's all you do, I understand, because all these nuances and details, what are the process. And it's also important to know about the minuses and work around these minuses so you're prepared for all life is going to throw at you.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Perfect. Okay. Irina, thank you so much. This was very informative. We appreciate your
Thank
time. And of course, if anybody has questions on their particular situation, because right now, Irina is giving general advice. If you want to talk about your particular situation, it's best to call Irina directly at the phone number at the bottom of the screen. Also, we're going to tag Irina in this post with her Facebook profile, and you can contact Irina there as well to schedule a consultation. And please stay tuned because there's so much to cover, and this applies to everybody. I don't care if you're rich or poor, how old you are, you should all listen, because even if you are young, you're in your 20s, 30s, you have to think about your parents, and maybe you want to tell your parents about what you heard and saw in this video, because they're going to be affected, and guess what, you're also going to be affected. So stay with us, we're going to bring you much more. Appreciate your time. Take care, everybody. Until next time.
you. Bye.
Thank you.